What is going on, guys? It's Jack Gills 1875 here, and today I'm bringing you my top 15 German football stadiums. Now, I was at a bit of a loss as to what to do this week because I've got a few things in the pipeline, a few interviews, a few more unboxings, and my big project, which I don't want to give away too much about, but you'll enjoy it. It's one of my footballing stories, but a really unique one that I think is really cool. I think you guys will love it, but that's all still in the pipeline. So I was at a bit of a loss, and I decided, you know what? My rating the Regionalliga Nordost Stadium video did well, and my top 10 videos always did well, the ones I was sort of doing early on in the year and last year. So I decided, you know what, I'll do a top 10 German football stadiums video, and then that turned into a top 15. Now, if I did every single one of the stadiums I love in Germany, it would be a top 250. So you're lucky I managed to narrow it down to 15 stadiums that I love. Now, I think this video explains itself pretty well, but just a few things. I haven't been to a lot of these stadiums. When travel restrictions allow, I am planning on visiting them. I haven't been to a lot of these stadiums, but I've seen them on the TV, and I like the atmosphere, I like the look of the stadium, and I like the history of the stadium. So those are for the ones I haven't visited. For the ones I have visited, all of that, and then adding on top the facilities when I was there and everything like that. So yeah, and then as always with these videos, and especially in this one, this is purely based on my opinion. If you guys have different stadiums that you love in Germany, please tell me in the comments, because I love it when you guys discuss things with me on the channel. I love hearing from you guys, and I love it when you engage the German football content. So it'd be good to hear what your favourite German football stadiums are. So that's me explaining the video. Like I said, I think it explains itself pretty well. So let's jump into my top 15 stadiums. I've got to say, it is an eclectic mix. Let's get right into it. In at number 15, I picked the Metro Fußballhimmel, home to Blau-Weiß Friedrichshain. Now, if you've watched the channel from the very start, you will know about Blau-Weiß Friedrichshain, great low-league club in Berlin. Ole was my first interview, their player and media guy, was my first interview talking about being a lower league Berlin club during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, those of you that know about the club already know this stadium's unique sort of selling point, shall we say. But you guys watching at home that don't know, I think you've probably noticed it already, they play on top of a shopping centre. They play on top of the Metro Centre at Warschauer Strasse, and I think it's so unique. Now, this is in here for novelty value. I'm going to say that right now because it is very basic. It's literally a few seats next to an AstroTurf, and that is it. Without the seats, it would literally be AstroTurf. But I just think it's absolutely bonkers that they play on top of a shopping centre. Now, Fußballhimmel sort of literally translated means football sky, and it really is football in the sky if you think about it. You're on top of a shopping centre. So yeah, if you go outside Warschauer Strasse S-Bahn station, you'll see the stadium right ahead of you. You'll actually see it from the S-Bahn station once you go up onto the bridge above the S-Bahn station. So yeah, I think that's brilliant. Now, I've not actually been to this one. I've seen it because I've been to Warschauer Strasse to go to the East Side Gallery when I was in Berlin, but I haven't actually been up there to see a game, which, when I can go over to Berlin, definitely on the bucket list, absolutely. And I just think it's really beautifully unique. Now, yeah, it's a really basic stadium, but you've got to bear in mind, these are really low league. I think they're 9th division, so they're a really low league club. So this is really cool for them. I bet Bayern wish they had something like this. I just think it's really cool. Now, yeah, like I said, the facilities are lacking. You probably have to go into the shopping centre to go to the toilet, and you probably have to go into the shopping centre if you want food. But I just think it's beautifully unique, and Blau-Weiß Friedrichshain are really proud of it. It does attract a lot of football tourists to go and see them play there. I just think it's really wonderful, and it just sums up Berlin. Berlin is a beautifully bonkers place, and this stadium just sums up Berlin perfectly, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, it's basic. It literally has a few seats next to Astro, but it's a few seats next to Astro up on top of a shopping centre. I just think it's wonderful. I'm sort of losing words here because I just love this stadium. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's it at number 15. And Blau-Weiß Friedrichshain off to a good start. Let's move on. In at 14, I've picked the first Bundesliga stadium of the list, the Deutsche Bank Arena, home to Eintracht Frankfurt. And I just absolutely love this stadium, and there's a few reasons for that. Number one, it is really smart on both the inside and the outside. It's just a really, really smart stadium. You've got the screen over the pitch, the big screen, which I think's really, I love that, sort of like that ice hockey stadium effect there with a big screen hanging over the pitch. I just like that because you can see it from all angles of the stadium. And then you've got the seats look really smart with the black effect, and it's one of the more modern stadiums in Germany. And then on the outside, like I was saying, it's just really, really smart. So it's just a smart stadium. Second, atmosphere. The atmosphere is absolutely amazing because the way the stadium is, with the corners filled in and how sort of packed in it is on the inside, it's like a big cavernous effect with the noise. It really just reverberates. And Eintracht Frankfurt fans are amazing, whether Hertha have played them away, or Bayern, or Chelsea in the Europa League semi-final. The atmosphere is just absolutely mental from Eintracht Frankfurt fans. I think the stadium really helps carry that. And then the third reason is you're really close to the pitch. You're really sort of penned in near the pitch, which I think is amazing because if you follow a lot of German football, you will know that a lot of German grounds have either a running track around them or you're sort of placed quite far away from the pitch. And the stands, not here at the Deutsche Bank Arena, you're really close into the pitch, you're really close into the action. And that really, I think that just helps the atmosphere as well. Now, the best atmosphere I've seen at the Deutsche Bank Arena wasn't a game, but it's when Eintracht Frankfurt brought the Pokal home in 2018 after they beat Bayern in the final. The atmosphere that day was just so passionate and amazing within the stadium. Also, it held one of the most iconic Women's World Cup finals of all time, 2011, when Japan shocked America. So yeah, so that's another reason, held one of the most iconic Women's World Cup finals of all time. And I just absolutely love the Deutsche Bank Arena. Eintracht Frankfurt done an amazing job here, and it's just an absolutely fantastic stadium. Also really easy to get to, which is common with German football stadiums, but in a city like Frankfurt that is not exactly known for its transport efficiency, it is good to have a stadium that's easy to get to, and definitely one that I'll need to go on an away day with Hertha at some point because I absolutely love it. Just an excellent stadium here. Well done, Eintracht Frankfurt. You've outdone yourselves. So now going to move on to the next one. In at 13, I decided to stay in the Bundesliga and pick the Bay Arena, home of Bayer Leverkusen. I picked this stadium basically more or less for the same reasons as the Deutsche Bank Arena, which is why they've been placed next to each other. You're close into the pitch, which is amazing for atmosphere. I do like that, being close into the pitch. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind a running track. I'm not a sort of, anorak on that. I don't really mind a running track, but I do prefer to be closer into the pitch. So that's why you're penned into the pitch nice, the noise carries round well, good atmosphere, and a really smart stadium from the inside and the outside. I really do love it. And again, it's one of Germany's newer stadiums, one of the Bundesliga's newer stadiums, which I love. It's modern, the facilities look absolutely excellent. Where they put the away fans is great as well. That really helps the atmosphere because usually in Germany, especially in the older stadiums, the away fans get a little corner and it doesn't really help atmosphere that much. I mean, the atmosphere is amazing because you've got the home fans, but you don't really hear from the away fans. I think where they put the away fans in the Bay Arena is absolutely amazing. The facilities look fantastic. It's in a sort of nice secluded area, if you like, away from Leverkusen itself, because I don't want to offend Leverkusonians, if that's what you call them, but it's not the nicest place in the world, Leverkusen. But the stadium's in a nice sort of secluded part out on the Autobahn, out of town, so it is quite easy to get to if you're on an away day. So if you're coming in from Berlin, you'll use me for an example as a Hertha fan, if you're coming in from Berlin, it's easy to get to on a coach. And I think, it's a really, really smart stadium, really modern, really sort of sleek feel to it. So that is the Bay Arena, more or less the same reasons as Eintracht Frankfurt I put this one in. Now going to move on to the next one. Then at number 12, staying in the Bundesliga, I picked Borussia Park, which is home to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Now, the reason I picked this is it really reminds me of a Scottish or English stadium. Now, the way I put it is a point of reference for my fellow Highbees and other Scottish football fans. It's like an improved Parkhead. It's like Parkhead, but without getting sat behind the stupid girders after paying a lot of money. So it's like an improved Parkhead, and that's why I like it, because, or like the King Power, it's like a bigger version of King Power as well for English football fans, is that keeps the atmosphere in well. Now, German football stadiums, atmosphere gets kept in pretty well regardless because it is German football. But I just think at Borussia Park, especially on like a Champions League night or when they're playing in the Borussia Derby or the Rhine Derby, you really just feel the atmosphere in the ground, and it's just absolutely fantastic. Again, I've watched a few Borussia Mönchengladbach games, and the atmosphere looks incredible, especially when they're playing a big game and got an absolute fill to the Gunners' house. And again, that's why I was so picked, because like I said, Rangers Scottish English Stadium holds in the atmosphere well. And again, I might be just being silly here, but to me, it's like if you filled the corners in at Easter Road and added an extra tier on. I think that's what it sort of reminds me of a bit. But yeah, it's got that sort of design to it. It reminds you, if you took the Borussia away from it, that could easily be in England or Scotland, definitely. And I just think it's brilliant, because it holds in the atmosphere, like I was saying, pens in the atmosphere really well. Smart stadium, home to a fantastic club with fantastic fans, and it's got that sort of SPFL or maybe Championship or Premier League feel to it as well. So it's good for if you're a football tourist and you're going over to Germany and you're not really familiar with the German football experience, you get that sort of taste of home, if you like. Now, of course, I'm right head first into the German football experience. I'm running tracks, terracing, everything, but to ease people in gently, I think Borussia Park is a great place to go. Plus, I am saying this as a Hertha fan, Borussia Mönchengladbach are an amazing club with amazing fans. Have a lot of respect for them. So yeah, absolutely fantastic stadium. Let's move on to the next one. In at number 11, I decided to go back to the capital and pick the Ludwig Jahn Sportpark, which will be hosting Victoria Berlin during their Dritte Liga campaign this season. Well, it has been home to BFC Dynamo and VSK Alglinica as well. Now, of course, you guys know about this because I've actually been to this stadium. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I went out there in 2019 to see BFC Dynamo play Bischofswerda in the Regionalliga Nordost. And where did I start with why I love the Ludwig Jahn Sportpark? We need a completely whole new video if I was to go through all the reasons. I think, first of all, the stand. The stand is amazing. It's just so East German, quintessentially Cold War. And then there's the stadium's history. The stadium's history is absolutely amazing. Like, think of all the moments of East German football that happened here. BFC winning all those league titles, East German Cup finals. So there's that. Plus, I think, now this was a sort of newer addition to the stadiums, the multicoloured seats. I just love them. I absolutely love them. I think that's something quite unique. Plus, it's really easy to get to from the centre of Berlin. Hop on the U-Bahn at Alexanderplatz, then you get off at Eberswalder Strasse U-Bahn station, and the stadium is just right opposite it. So really easy to get to. Plus, Prenzlauer great part of Berlin. And it's in a lovely park. The Ludwig Jahn Sportpark in general, not just the stadium, is a lovely park. Great to go for a stroll right next to the Mauer Park where the Berlin Wall used to be. So a nice little bit of culture there as well. But yeah, an amazing stadium. Sadly, the only thing that stops it coming sort of in the further down the list, in the sort of most popular ones, the ones I love the most, is because of the running track. And I think the running track does spoil it a bit because, you know, you don't get big crowds. BFC Dynamo at most get 3,000 or 4,000, and Victoria Berlin are going to get even less next season. Now, they don't get good crowds as it is, and you'll probably have COVID restrictions on crowd sizes and everything like that. Plus, Berlin's virus rate's really high, so that's going to impact it as well. So I do think that takes away from it, and that's why I haven't put it in like the top 10. But I still absolutely love it, and the floodlights as well. I'm really sad that they will not be operating anymore. The floodlights are absolutely amazing. The floodlights are just, I don't actually know what the situation with floodlights is. They're meant to be getting taken away, but I absolutely love those floodlights. Again, something from the bygone era, the golden age of East German football. Just absolutely love this stadium. It was a pleasure going there, and yeah, I really hope that the improvement works don't take away from the character too much, because that would be absolutely devastating if they do. So let's move into the top 10. So in at number 10, so broken into the top 10 now, I decided to go with the Erzgebirge Stadion, also known as the Sparkasse Stadion for sponsorship reasons, home of Erzgebirge Aue, so our first Zweite Bundesliga club on the list. And I think this stadium is just absolutely wonderful, and for a few reasons. The first reason is what surrounds it, the beautiful landscape of the Erzgebirge, the Ohr Mountains. It's just beautiful. I mean, and the nice forests that surround it and everything like that. And plus, Aue is an absolutely beautiful town. A place that'll definitely need to visit, and somewhere I recommend you visit as well. Really friendly looking little town. And then we move on to the inside of the stadium. I think it's really smart. It's really modern. It recently got upgraded a bit, so you've got that there. And plus, again, very uncommon for Germany, especially in the Old East. You've got to remember a lot of stadiums were multi-sport for multi-use. It's close into the pitch, which I've said it a few times in this video. It just really helps the atmosphere. I have amazing fans, really passionate fans, that despite the fact the club, the glory years are about 60 years behind them, they've still got that faith in their club. They still back their club en masse. They regularly pack the stadium out. They put on an amazing atmosphere, given that it's quite a quiet town. They do attract a lot of supporters from the vicinity, the sort of other towns near our. And I just think, it's a beautiful stadium. I love the purple as well. On the outside, when the improvement works got done, I think that's really helped it. And then inside, it's got the nods to the town's mining heritage. So you've got the tunnel, looks like a mine shaft. It's done up to look like a mine shaft. I think it's absolutely amazing. The stadium is also known as Die Schacht by the fans, which is the shaft, the mine shaft, which is, I think, absolutely amazing. So a little nod to their mining heritage there. And they've got all the fans have painted all the murals like miners and the old Vismut badge, and which is a nod to their DDR history and everything like that. So that is why I really, really love this stadium, and I just think, I really recommend you pay it a visit. And if you're not a football fan, go to Aue anyway. It's like a beautiful town, a really beautiful town nestled in southern Saxony. So I really recommend you go there. And what a stadium, a really, really beautiful stadium. So let's move on to the next one. In at number 9, I decided to go with the Stadion Essen, which is home to Regionalliga West side Rot-Weiss Essen. First of all, I've got to say, this is a really decent setup for a 4th Division team. And that's because Rot-Weiss Essen, despite the fact they've never really been a force in German football for about 30 or 40 years, still have really loyal supporters that pack the stadium out, obviously before COVID, and put on an amazing atmosphere. And you just wouldn't believe it for the 4th Division. The passion on show is absolutely amazing. I think they're challenging for the Bundesliga title every week, which I love. I love the passion. And, when they play in the Pokal, especially when they played local rivals, Fortuna Düsseldorf, the atmosphere was mental. If you shut your eyes, you'd think it was the Olympiastadion on Cup final day. Honestly. And then another reason for me is it sort of reminds me of like a decent League One ground in England. More like the sort of, I think, the closest I'd say is the Kassam Stadium, which is of course home to Oxford, except with the extra stand. Obviously Oxford have not got the 4th stand. They've only got 3, but this has 4. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's mostly seated, which is also unusual for that level in Germany. I do prefer terracing myself, but I know a lot of you prefer seating. I do think seating helps, and you've got that sort of helps get a bit more chatty atmosphere going at half time and everything like that. And I do think it is a really nice stadium with a lot of qualities, and like I said, a decent setup for a 4th Division team, plus in at the pitch. And now, like I was saying, it's not a go at running tracks, but near the pitch, and really near the pitch. I mean, you could get hit in the face by the ball if you're sitting in the front row. And I think, again, it gives that sort of Scottish or English vibe. I think it's a better setup than a lot of Scottish Championship teams have. And it really just does help the atmosphere being close into the pitch. And Rot-Weiss Essen have amazing fans, especially, for the level that they're at. And I do think, an amazing stadium. And my main reason for doing this is the setup. And I definitely do need to visit Rot-Weiss Essen because Hibs is first ever European opponent. So, quite relevant given we've got our Conference League games coming up soon, all depending when you've watched this. So, really love the Stadion Essen. Definitely one I'll need to visit. And a great setup for a 4th Division side. Let's move on to the next one. And at number 8, I went back to the Bundesliga, and this is a controversial one. I have picked the Zentralstadion, also known as the Red Bull Arena for sponsorship reasons, home to RB Leipzig. Now, my attitude on this is you can like the stadium, but you cannot like the team, and I am certainly not an RB Leipzig apologist. As you guys know, if I was to pick a Leipzig team, it would probably be Lokomotiv Leipzig. But I do think the Zentralstadion, I refuse to call it the Red Bull Arena, the Zentralstadion is just an excellent ground. I think it's got a lot going for it. Now, it wasn't built for RB Leipzig, it was built for the 2006 World Cup. And Lokomotiv Leipzig have played games, I think, especially when Locke played there, the atmosphere was amazing, and when away fans come, the atmosphere's amazing. And when you had like the other old East German teams, and RB Leipzig were sort of on their journey, the atmosphere was just so intense, because obviously all the 50+1 and everything like that. It was really the atmospheres are amazing. I think it's a really smart stadium. I like how it's built where the pitch of the old Zentralstadion was. And if you go, I've been on the outside, I've never actually been inside, but I've been on the outside. If you go to Leipzig and you just want to have a walk about, there's still remnants of the old Zentralstadion there. The old ring of the Zentralstadion, because it didn't have a roof, is round where the new one is. And I think what I think's really cool is it's in where the pitch would have been on the old one. You still see some of the old statues, because it was built in the 50s and the communist times and the Stalinist style, so you still see some of the old statues. You can still see the old Maifeld round the back as well. So I do think that's going for it. Plus, it is an excellent stadium, excellent atmosphere, really smart. It's just a shame the team that plays there, although Lokomotiv Leipzig in the near future may have to play there. If they ever get to the Dritte Liga, because the Bruno Plaka is in a sort of limbo about that right now, and possibly for the DFB Pokal, a game against Bayer Leverkusen, they'll be in there. So I do think it is a great Leipzig stadium. It's really smart. I like how it's got the old Zentralstadion round it, so it's sort of like the old and the new. I do absolutely love that. It's just a shame the team that play there has a very abhorrent sort of foundation story, if you like. But yeah, a really smart ground, and one I've absolutely loved. I've never been in it for a game, I've never been in it full stop. I've been on the outside, which the outside is really smart as well. Like I said, the old and the new. So yeah, absolutely love it, but don't love the team that play there. But hopefully Locke will get to play some games there again soon. So yeah, also, one more thing about the history. Also, I'd say one of the most underrated and iconic European nights ever, when Lokomotiv Leipzig put out Bordeaux on penalties, with goalkeeper René Müller scoring the winner to take Lokomotiv Leipzig to the Cup Winners' Cup final. So yeah, also, so I think one of the most underrated European football moments ever. Best European night ever, in terms of like the history of the Cup Winners' Cup. Possibly, well, Magdeburg winning, but that's a story for another day. So yeah, really smart stadium. Just a shame of the team that plays there. Let's move on to the next one. In at number 7, we've not went too far away from Leipzig. I've decided to go to Halle an der Saale and pick the Erdgas Sportpark, home to Hallischer FC. Now, Hallischer FC, amazing old East German club, used to be called Hallischer FC Chemie, and they've got absolutely fantastic fans who share quite a close friendship with Lokomotiv Leipzig fans. They support each other. I think the Erdgas Sportpark is an excellent little ground for a third division club. Now, you've got a lot of terracing, which I love. That really helps the atmosphere. Again, really close into the pitch at the Erdgas Sportpark. Despite the fact it's in a corner, decent setup for the away fans. And I just think it's a really smart ground on the outside and the inside. And it is powered by solar panels. The whole way around the stadium is solar powered. So the floodlights are solar powered. They charge up during the day with the solar power. All the electronics in the stadium is run by solar power, because the Erdgas, the sort of gas company, are committed to sustainables and everything like that. And I think that's great, because Halle has an industrial past that's left quite a big scar on the place. And I think it's good that they're doing something ecological for the community and for the city as a club. And that really, I do like that. I do like an ecological stadium. And I just think, yeah, a really decent setup for a third division side. It's just a really smart little ground. I think it being not two-tiered, being like one continuous loop, really helps the atmosphere. Now, it's got a really big section for the hardcore behind the goal, and when that's bouncing, it's amazing. I've watched loads of sort of compilations of Halle fans, and the atmosphere, I'd say, is one of the best in the Dritte Liga. You just would not believe it. I mean, I think it outdoes a lot of Premier League atmospheres, if you ask me. It's excellent atmosphere over at the Erdgas Sportpark, and rumour has it that if you're walking down the street near the Erdgas Sportpark on match day, you will hear it. Now, if that is true, I love that. I just absolutely love that. Halle, hats off to you. And it's just, like I was saying, a really smart little ground. I love that sort of ecological thing. It's in a really lovely little park with loads of community stuff, which again, I love it when clubs and sponsors work with their communities. And it's near the city centre, which is very uncommon. Usually German stadiums are built quite outside the town. You can get to the Erdgas Sportpark easily on a tram or S-Bahn if you happen to be in Halle an der Saale, and I would definitely recommend a little visit to this brilliant little stadium and this brilliant club. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. In at number 6, I've taken a hop up to the Baltic Sea coast, and I've went with the Ostseestadion, home to Hansa Rostock, and there's so many reasons for this one. Like the Ludwigshafen Sportpark, I need to make a whole different video. Now, first of all, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think it's one of the best stadiums that's going to be in the Zweite Bundesliga next season. It is an absolutely amazing ground, Ostseestadion. First of all, atmosphere. You really feel penned in with the atmosphere. Hansa Rostock fans are mentalists. They are absolute mentalists. And Hansa Rostock are one of those clubs that if you're not from Rostock or you don't sort of understand the club, you're never going to fully be able to appreciate it or respect it or support it. I think Hansa Rostock are just one of those unique clubs that I really like. And I suppose when we look at seaside clubs in Britain, you look at Blackpool or Brighton and Hove Albion, well, Hansa Rostock can't like any of them. The atmosphere is far more intense, and the Ostseestadion really helps that because you feel really penned in. And I think it's, you actually feel like you're sort of looking down on it because the seats are raised up from the pitch, but in a good way. Because you've not got the running trick, you're looking down on it. It feels even more intense, I think, because you feel all hemmed in and high up and everything like that. And plus, it's just really smart from the outside. Again, it's a newish ground, and the old Ostseestadion looked like most sort of communist-era stadiums. It was just a big bowl. But the new Ostseestadion is just absolutely, I mean, it is brilliant. And Hansa Rostock always put on a good show in there. They've got some formidable home form. I think that's what's really sort of carried them to the Zweite Bundesliga, and I don't doubt having such a fantastic stadium helped them. You know, I think that was definitely one of the reasons having such a fantastic stadium got them back into the Zweite Bundesliga for the first time in a while. It's just, yeah, a really smart ground as well. You feel really close into the action. You feel really intense atmosphere in there. Plus, Rostock, fantastic city. Really sort of got its own unique character, Rostock. And that's why I went with the Ostseestadion. Absolutely love Rostock. Love the Ostseestadion. And yeah, just atmosphere. That would be one word to describe it. Atmosphere. An intense atmosphere. There's two words for you. So let's move on to the next stadium. We're getting into the top 5 now. And at number 5, I decided to go with the MDZZ Arena, home to 1. FC Magdeburg. Now, anybody that's watched the channel from the start and remembers the Football Manager series will know about the MDZZ Arena and Magdeburg. We made a lot of memories there at the MDZZ Arena, a lot of good memories, a lot of bad ones as well. But yeah, mostly good. It's a fantastic. And the minute I watched Magdeburg play, it was a Pokal game, I think, I just fell in love with the stadium. It is absolutely just, it's a really smart ground. And Magdeburg fans have really made it their own. I mean, their old stadium was excellent as well. When they moved out of that, I think there was a lot of worry that, you know, they wouldn't attract the fans to fill it. But Magdeburg fans have really made their own. And a lot of games, they get near capacity crowds. It is difficult to get tickets for Magdeburg games, obviously, pre-COVID. I suppose it'll be even more difficult now because you've got limited spectators and everything like that. But yeah, really amazing stadium. And the atmosphere, the Block U, which is where the hardcore sit, or stand, should I say, is, well, bouncing. I mean, absolutely amazing atmosphere that is created, and I think what really helps it is it's a big section of the stadium, Block U, and it's sort of like, for reference from a fellow high bees, to give you a bit of reference, it's like the East Stand in terms of it's just one big continuing row of seats, or in this case terracing, and it just, that really creates an amazing atmosphere. Plus it's just a great ground, and it is a little bit out the way. There's no public transport to it, which is extremely rare for a German football stadium. You do have to get a taxi or walk. The walk's not that bad, but if you're a lazy bones like me, the taxi doesn't cost that much, so if you don't want to walk, get a taxi. But yeah, I think a really amazing ground, and Magdeburg fans, like I was saying, really made it their own, really turned it into a real sort of fortress, and you could tell the players struggled without that home support. Magdeburg have amazing fans, and everywhere you go within the stadium, there's just little nods to Magdeburg's history as a club, like the statue of their manager that won them the Cup Winners' Cup, and little nods to the biggest legend of East German football ever, Jürgen Sparwasser, who was a local boy who played for his hometown club. So I do really love that about it, that nod to the club history. Plus, like I was saying, it's just a ground I fell in love with because it's home to an excellent club. The fans have really made it their own, and the atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. So let's move on to the next one. And at number 4, we're back in the Bundesliga, and I don't think this stadium needs any introduction or any explanation. But anyway, the Westfalen Stadion, also known as Signal Iduna Park, home to Borussia Dortmund. I don't think any German football stadium list would be complete without this stadium. I mean, it's just taking on the character of Dortmund as a club. And I'm saying this as a die-hard Hertha fan as well. And I think, it's just so amazing. The Geldmauer, the yellow wall, the atmosphere. The atmosphere is just second. And when they belt out You'll Never Walk Alone, which I think is just that little bit better than Liverpool's, when they make all the noise during the game, the tifos, the displays, the atmosphere, when Erling Haaland blasts one in the top corner, the goal tune going off and the Dortmund fans all singing along. I just think it's an absolutely fantastic stadium. What I've seen, I think the best time I've ever seen the stadium is during Ruhr derbies against Schalke. It's just absolutely crazy. And this stadium is so beautiful. It's such a beautiful stadium when it's full and the yellow walls bouncing. The atmosphere is just something else. It just takes on a whole new character. And we're talking about with Halle, the stadium really takes on the character of the club. And Dortmund, they've just really made this stadium their fortress. They've really made this stadium their home. It's more than just where they play. It's the centre of the club. All the club's offices and everything are in the stadium or around and near the stadium. I think that's really makes it amazing, because some other clubs in Germany, their offices are away from where they actually play, or Bayern, for example. So I really do think that Dortmund have retained that sort of community feel as well. And despite the size of club that they are, and despite this fact that it's an 80,000 capacity stadium, you really feel like it's smaller, more compact, and it's really amazing. Like I said, I don't think words can describe them. I don't think any explanations needed. But that for me is why I've put the Westfalen Stadion in there, because it's so iconic. The atmosphere is amazing, and who doesn't love Dortmund? Even the most die-hard Schalke fans will probably say they have a little bit of respect for their derby rivals. So let's move into the top 3 and see who gets the bronze medal on this list. We're in the top 3 now, so these are my 3 most favourite German football stadiums. And getting the bronze medal in this list, coming third, I have picked the Rudolf Harbig Stadion, home to Dynamo Dresden. And this is a stadium I can't wait to visit. Obviously, when travel restrictions are lifted, the first place I'm going is a Hertha game, but I will then be hot-footing it down to Dresden to see a Dynamo Dresden game at Rudolf Harbig Stadion. I mean, what is not to like about the Rudolf Harbig Stadion? First of all, great size. I mean, 30,000, and despite the fact that Dynamo Dresden are a fallen giant, they still fill that pretty much every week. Before COVID, they were pretty much filling the stadium. They're getting average attendances of about 23,000, which is not bad at all, given that they were in the second division, and then when they did get fans back briefly, they're in the third division, and those tickets sold like hotcakes. So obviously with COVID limitations, it's going to be hard, but just a beautiful stadium. Fans make it amazing, really intimidating atmosphere. I don't mean in a bad way, it's really just like intense. With the K block, which is the Dynamo Dresden hardcore. I love how the stadium's got the club colours, so it's got the badge on the seats. Again, some very iconic group stage games in the 2011 Women's World Cup there as well. So an amazing stadium in a really nice part of Dresden, a bit of Dresden that's getting sort of a new face put on it, if you like. Really modern part of Dresden, getting away from all that horrible stuff that's happened in its past, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful stadium. Not too far away from where the old stadium was, and I just absolutely love the Rudolf Harbig Stadion. It's sort of like with the Westfalen Stadion. I just don't think words can describe it. The atmosphere is excellent, the stadium is really smart, the facilities look excellent, and Dynamo Dresden, such an iconic club as well. And it's a club that it's hard not to like Dynamo Dresden because their fans are so crazy and they're from such a beautiful city, such a beautiful part of the world, Dresden. So yeah, I've got to love this stadium purely for location, but also because it's a really smart stadium and the fans are just absolutely amazing. So that was Rudolf Stadion. Let's see who takes the silver medal. Let's see what stadium takes a silver medal on this list. Taking the silver medal, second place, my second most favourite stadium in Germany is the Bruno Plache Stadion, home of Lokomotiv Leipzig. And well, I went for a friendly against FSV Zwickau and I fell in love immediately. First of all, it's like Old Easter Road. It's like a scaled down Old Easter Road without the East Stand, the Old East Stand, because with the old wooden stand and all the terracing, which I love as a highbie. It reminds me of the Old West Stand at Easter Road. And, well, the character of the ground is just absolutely amazing. That is, I think I mentioned it in an older video, I think it was probably in the Rating the Regional Liga and all those stadiums video, that is the oldest stand in Germany that's still being used, built in 1922. So, think about it, that is 99 years old, that stand, and still going strong, and seen a lot of football in history, not just Lokomotiv Leipzig in its time. And yeah, it's a wonderful ground. It's just one of those grounds you fall in love with, and it's such a classic. It's how football used to be. It's sort of like a hark back to the golden age of football. None of this VIP nonsense or anything like that. You've got seats in the stand, you've got terracing everywhere else. If you don't like it, then don't go to the games. That is what I love about it. The atmosphere in the stadium's amazing. The Lok fans, especially in the fan curve, make an excellent amount of noise. And it's just a classic ground. Yeah, it's got weeds coming up through the concrete. Yeah, it's a bit run down. Everyone's a bit rusty. Everyone's a bit mouldy. But that's character. And that's what I mean. The Bruno Plache Stadion is full of character. And everybody in Leipzig loves it. Even Shemi Leipzig fans will probably admit to having a little soft spot for this stadium because it really is. It's just iconic. And like I said, it really just harks back to the old golden age of football. And like I said, the minute I went into that stadium, I fell in love with it. Or as I was calling it, the mock Tudor stand. That's where I was sitting, and it's brilliant. And like I said, it really just harks back to a golden age. We don't have stadiums like that anymore in Britain. We don't, in Scotland or England. We don't have those stadiums in Britain anymore because they're all new builds and the Taylor Report and everything like that, in the interest of health and safety. Germany, they still have these old stadiums. I think Lokomotiv Leipzig is just a look back to what football used to be, and that's what I absolutely love about this stadium. That's why it came second. So, yeah, the Bruno Plache Stadion, I really hope to get out there again soon for a proper game that isn't a friendly, a proper Regional Liga Nordost tie, so that I can, really take in the atmosphere properly. So let's move on to who takes top spot. What is my favourite German football stadium? Taking number one spot, my favourite football stadium in Germany is the Olympiastadion. Of course, home to Hertha BSC. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, I suppose many of you would have probably worked this out by now. And you could accuse me of being biased, but it's my list. And I just love the Olympiastadion. It's not because it's unsere Wohnzimmer, our living room, as my fellow Hertaners call it. It is because it is an iconic stadium. And yes, my second team, my favourite team in Germany, the club that I support in Germany, play there. And have been some absolutely memorable moments and some absolutely forgettable moments as well at the Olympiastadion. It is just such an iconic stadium. And when you say Bundesliga stadium, folk will say the Allianz Arena, the Signal Iduna Park, Westfalen Stadion, or the Olympiastadion. It's so iconic. It's been part of Berlin since 1936, of course, the 1936 Olympics, the history behind that, then the Pokal finals held there every year. I just love it. It's so iconic. And while we can't get the crowds that do it justice, we get 40, 50,000 a game, I still think it's brilliant. And when the Ostkurve's bouncing and you've got a big team in town like Bayern or Dortmund, the atmosphere is amazing. Hopefully we can have a Berlin derby with some fans in the Olympiastadion this season. Fingers crossed. Hopefully the coronavirus allows that to happen. I think to have I just think the Olympiastadion is absolutely amazing, and it's home. It's home. It's like a second home to me. It's my second favourite stadium of all time, obviously behind a certain stadium in the Leith area of Edinburgh that I'm sure many of you will know. But yeah, I just love the Olympiastadion. It's so iconic. It's so cavernous. It's so awe-inspiring. You just see it, and it's an instant symbol of Berlin as well, which is a city I love. And yeah, I just love how iconic it is. And like I was saying, as a Hertha fan, so many memories there. Some good, mostly bad, but it's a great stadium. And then all the iconic football moments that have happened outside of obviously Hertha, Pokal finals, Champions League final, World Cup final. So yeah, really amazing stadium, and one that I'll hopefully play in a little while longer whilst the Project Blau-Weiß-Stadion goes on ahead. But yeah, absolutely love the Olympiastadion. I think it was a no-brainer for me. Hertha play there. It's a symbol of Berlin. Fantastic history, and just the sheer sort of size of it as well when you see it is just amazing. And you get beautiful views from the Maifeld of it, or up the Glockenturm as well. So yeah, I absolutely love the Olympiastadion, and it was the only one that was ever going to take top spot. So yeah, I don't think many of you will be surprised. Like I said, many of you that saw the thumbnail, or everybody's seen the thumbnail and the introduction, probably would have worked it out at this point. But yeah, that was my top 15 favourite stadiums. Of course, Hertha taking top spot with the Olympiastadion, naturally. So let's move on to the outro. So there it is, my top 15 German football stadiums. Unsurprisingly, the Olympiastadion took top spot. It is my favourite. Any of you that know me properly will know that was probably coming, and a lot of you will probably guess from the thumbnail as well. But that doesn't matter, because hey Hertha BSC. But yeah, really enjoyed making this video, because I thought it really got to showcase me and what my tastes in German football stadiums are, and I really loved it. It was really good sort of looking at all the stadiums and thinking about all the ones that I like. And I kid you not, I had to cut this down from a list of 100. I had all the graphics made up, ready to go, and I was like, well, I'm going to have to do 10 videos on this. I'm going to have to do a 10-part series. I was like, that's a silly idea. So I thought, we'll cut it down to 20. Then it was a bit too long, so I thought, right, we'll shave 5 off and we'll get it down to 15. And I managed to get it down to 15 okay. And yeah, I really loved it. And a real eclectic mix in there. We went from the Bezirksliga with Blau-Weiß Friedrichshain to the Bundesliga 2, to the Bundesliga, to the Regionalliga. So yeah, really a good mix of stadiums there. And that's what it is. That's German football. And there's so many amazing stadiums in Germany, so many to visit. And I want you guys to get involved in the discussion. Tell me what your favourite stadium out of my 15 was, and what stadiums would you like to include on the list? Would love to hear from you guys on this one. Like I was saying, open for discussion. This really was a heavily opinion-based video, so I really hope you enjoyed it, guys. And as always, remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. If you're swinging by the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. You get unique football content. I do German football, Hibs, women's football, so make sure you click that subscribe button so that you can really get stuck into some unique football and content that you don't really see on other channels. And I will see you all very, very soon. Jack out.